Tonight, new hope for a breakthrough to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump set to meet with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy on Monday after his Alaska meeting with Vladimir Putin ended with no peace deal. The president now ruling out a ceasefire, saying he's going all in on a deal to totally end the war. What's next for the negotiations and what could be on the table for Ukraine? Ukraine's future hanging in the balance, but will they have any say in what's next? Our Richard Engel on the ground as the war rages on and Ukrainians react. Hurricane Erin, now a monster Category 5 storm. Take a look at this. Hurricane hunters inside the eye of the storm, where it's heading and the dangerous conditions it could bring to the East Coast. Protests against the police takeover in Washington. Military vehicles and federal agents patrolling the streets. The big question tonight, what's next? The redistricting battle moving beyond Texas as California plans to retaliate, and why Arnold Schwarzenegger wants to terminate that plan. Late developments to end the flight attendant strike against Air Canada, but the impact still being felt around the world. Hundreds of flights canceled, thousands of passengers impacted. How long will it last? Our inside look at the National Weather Service, how they sound the alarm when disasters strike, and the tool they recommend everyone get. And there's good news tonight about the surprise of a lifetime for this grandma and the new memories that will last forever.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a critical moment on the world stage. President Trump saying he will meet with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy at the White House on Monday, just days after his high-stakes meeting with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, which notably did not include Zelenskyy. The president saying he and Putin worked toward a peace agreement for Ukraine. But questions still remain, like, what would that deal look like? Will Ukraine be forced to give up land to Russia? Will Monday's meeting be better than the last time Zelenskyy went to the White House? And will Ukraine be given a say in its own future? We have team coverage tonight, and we begin with Vaughn Hilliard at the White House.
New details tonight in the real-time negotiations over a potential Ukraine-Russia deal. President Trump in an early morning phone call with President Zelenskyy, now discussing potential U.S. security guarantees for Ukraine to prevent future invasions by Russia. 5 individuals familiar with the talks telling NBC News they would be NATO-like security protections, though not include NATO membership. One source also said future American boots on the ground was not discussed with or entertained by Trump. The White House has not backed Ukraine's possible NATO membership, as Putin has long opposed. President Trump leaving this weekend his much-hyped Alaska meeting with no clear concessions from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Despite a red carpet rollout, pronounced staging and fanfare, and a private ride in the presidential beast.
There's no deal until there's a deal.
Zelenskyy now saying he will fly to Washington to meet with Trump one-on-one on Monday. Trump set the table for his talks on his flight to Alaska.
I won't be happy if I walk away without some form of a ceasefire.
But after the two men's 3-hour meeting, Trump writing on Truth Social, a mere ceasefire agreement is not the best way to end the war. But instead, it's to go directly to a peace agreement.
President Putin, will you stop killing civilians?
And the specifics of a would-be lasting peace agreement unclear.
You talked about a lot of things that you agreed on, and maybe one big issue you don't agree on. Are you prepared to go public with that?
No, I'd rather not.
The Ukrainian president saying he now wants a trilateral meeting. Trump, Putin, Zelenskyy.
They both want me there, and I'll be there. You got to see it out.
Putin, however, has yet to commit, though attempted to invite Trump specifically to Russia.
Next time in Moscow.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
And Vaughn joins us tonight from the White House, where we're learning more about a letter that First Lady Melania Trump wrote to President Putin.
That's right, Jose. President Trump delivered the letter about the purity of children by hand to Putin. Without mentioning Ukraine by name, the First Lady wrote in part, quote, "In protecting the innocence of these children, you will do more than serve Russia alone. You serve humanity itself." Jose?
Vaughn Hilliard at the White House, thank you. Now to Ukraine, where people are weighing in after President Trump's meeting with Vladimir Putin. Richard Engel reports.
In Kyiv today, many Ukrainians were left scratching their heads, wondering why President Trump gave such a warm reception to an accused war criminal who continues daily attacks against Ukraine. I was hoping that the U.S. wouldn't roll out the red carpet to the enemy. How can you welcome a tyrant like this? Asked Natalia Lippe. At the Kremlin today, President Putin gave no indication he plans to stop his attacks, sticking to his old talking points. Putin said the war can only end if the root causes are addressed. But he has repeatedly claimed that Ukraine is merely a breakaway Russian province. Across Ukraine, skepticism appears to be widespread that President Putin has changed his opinion or plans to give up any of the roughly 20% of Ukraine his troops currently occupy. Ukrainians tell us they suspect Putin is playing for time and plans to take more Ukrainian land. At the main train station in the eastern city of Kramatorsk, we saw civilians leaving as Russian troops close in. Even now, with this renewed push for a peace deal, the traffic is mostly Ukrainian civilians leaving the front lines out here in the east to head west, and soldiers coming in. Waiting for their train were Valentina and Nadia, sisters, both in their 70s. Neither feels comfortable with Putin or Trump having so much influence over Ukraine's future.
Many Ukrainians have told me that they're afraid that President Trump and Putin are going to carve up this country. Do you share those sentiments?
We do not believe Trump, Valentina says. He says one thing and does another. President Zelenskyy today questioned Russia's commitment to peace, saying if Putin won't agree to a short-term ceasefire, how will he ever agree to a long-term peace deal? Jose?
Richard Engel in Kharkiv, Ukraine. Thank you. And don't miss Meet the Press tomorrow when Kristen Welker is joined by Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. That's tomorrow, right here on NBC. And now to the latest on Hurricane Erin, quickly strengthening into a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane. It's officially the first hurricane of the season, now churning in the Atlantic, slowly moving west towards the U.S. And we're already seeing rough waters in Puerto Rico and high winds in St. Martin and St. Croix and across the Caribbean. And take a look at this. This is what it looks like inside the eye of the hurricane with these hurricane hunters. Let's bring in WNBC meteorologist Matt Brickman for the latest on Hurricane Erin. Matt, this thing is a monster. Where's it going next?
Jose, you can see the eye of this storm, 175 miles northeast of San Juan. It is going to be moving, thankfully, though, away from land. Note the winds there at 160 miles an hour. And the impressive thing about the storm is how quickly it has strengthened, undergoing something called extreme rapid intensification, where it's actually gained 85 miles an hour in wind speed in the last 24 hours. This is a byproduct of climate change. Now, watch the path of this storm, thankfully splitting the difference between the Bahamas and Bermuda and staying away from the East Coast. But we will see some impacts up and down the Atlantic seaboard, primarily from rough surf and large waves midweek between 10 and 15 feet. Jose?
Matt Brickman, thank you. And now back to Washington now. And protests today over the federal takeover of the police department in our nation's capital, where the legal battle over who controls the police appears to be over for now, even as backlash grows. Gary Grumbach reports.
Tonight, protests on the streets of the nation's capital over the federal takeover of Washington, D.C.'s police force and the deployment of the city's National Guard. Marching to the White House, D.C. residents fighting back against what they view as government overreach.
Our country's being taken over. Our city's being taken over.
It comes as federal agents were out in force again Friday night, patrolling popular nightlife areas.
As agents on the block.
White House officials tell NBC News there were a total of 52 arrests, 3 illegal firearms seized, and 28 undocumented immigrants taken into custody overnight. The city's police force typically averages 68 arrests per day, according to the Metropolitan Police Department. The overnight operation following an agreement between the Department of Justice and D.C. officials, which averted a prolonged legal battle. The compromise, a new order from Attorney General Pam Bondi, returning D.C.'s chief of police to power, but directing the mayor to order the police department to assist in federal immigration enforcement operations and fulfill requests for information from any federal law enforcement entity. D.C. officials painting it as a win.
The hostile takeover of our police force is not going to happen. Chief Smith remains in control of the police department.
Still, some D.C. residents welcoming the federal assistance.
I think it's a good thing because, you know what I'm saying, it's better for the community and safer for the kids.
And Gary joins us from Washington. Gary, more National Guard troops are on their way?
Jose, tonight the West Virginia governor is sending up to 400 members of the state's National Guard to support the larger mission here in D.C., a mission that NBC News has learned tonight will include some members carrying firearms while on duty. Jose?
Gary Grumbach in Washington, thank you. The battle over the balance of power in Congress is entering a new phase tonight as California Democrats announce their own redistricting plan to combat the Republican efforts in Texas. Ryan Chandler has this report.
This is what change looks like.
Tonight, Texas's redistricting battle sparking rallies and retaliation.
Get ready to fight! Yeah! We don't want the governor to choose which votes count and which don't.
As Texas moves closer to drawing 5 more Republican seats into their congressional map, California unveils their counterpunch.
This is not just about Texas.
Promising to redraw their own districts to add 5 Democratic seats.
This is about running away with this system and rigging it midterm. So we're not going to sit back passively.
But now he's facing pushback. Former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger pushing to terminate gerrymandering, telling the New York Times, "I hate the idea of the Republicans redrawing the district lines in Texas as much as I hate what the Californians are trying to do." Back in Texas,
this is just a bare-knuckle brawl right now, and the focus has to be on power. Do not allow them to divide us.
Beto O'Rourke pushing his party to match Texas's tactics, urging more states to redraw their maps in response.
You see this as an existential threat. It is. I don't know any other way to describe it.
Texas Republicans remain resolute.
We hold a lot more bullets in our belt that we'll be ready to use if we need to.
As state Democrats plan to return next week after a 2-week quorum break to stall the maps, Republicans say they will pass quickly.
We have the votes. It's going to happen.
And Ryan joins us now from outside the Texas state capitol. Ryan, what are the next steps?
Well, Jose, this standoff will soon turn into a showdown. Democrats are expected back on the House floor on Monday. Republicans tell us they expect a heated debate. Jose.
Ryan Chandler in Austin, thank you. Still ahead tonight, thousands of passengers impacted by a flight attendant strike and the late developments that could get the planes flying again soon. Back now with late developments in the strike against Air Canada. The Canadian government ordering striking flight attendants back to work, but the impact from their walkout is still being felt. Maya Eaglin has more.
Tonight, late developments to end a stressful saga in the skies. The Canadian government says it will step in and arbitrate the dispute between Air Canada and their flight attendants, bringing in a third party to help find a solution.
After 8 months of negotiations and weeks of intensive mediation, Air Canada and the Canadian Union of Public Employees flight attendants were unable to reach a tentative agreement.
Canada's largest airline canceling hundreds of flights Saturday, forcing travelers at Air Canada hubs to find a plan B.
And what happened to your flight?
Canceled.
It's unclear when an agreement will be reached, but Air Canada estimates that up to 130,000 passengers could be impacted every single day until the strike is over.
Air Canada saying in a statement before the government stepped in, they were, quote, working diligently to reach a new negotiated collective agreement and avoid further labor disruption. The union representing the flight attendants say they're demanding increased wages and should be paid for their labor when the plane is not in motion. Today, posting a statement saying the government's involvement will only ensure that the unresolved issues will continue to worsen by kicking them down the road.
We just want to be compensated fully and fairly for all the hours that we are at work.
Customers with canceled flights just wanting to get home.
Hopefully the two sides will come together fairly soon.
Eager flyers await a deal to put their travel plans back on track.
Maya Eaglin joins us from LaGuardia Airport. Maya, how soon could things get back to normal for Air Canada?
Jose, Air Canada officials say once a deal is reached, it could still take about a week until a full, completely restart to operations takes place. Jose?
Maya Eaglin in New York. Thank you. We're back in a moment with an inside look at how weather forecasters sound the alarm about catastrophic weather and the things that we can all do to prepare. That's next. And we're back with a wild video of a robbery caught on camera. Take a look at this. You can see the suspects entering in the middle of the day using hammers to smash open the glass doors and then the glass cases inside. Seattle police say they made off with about $2 million worth of jewelry before escaping in a getaway car. As Hurricane Erin moves through the Atlantic, we're taking a closer look at how to prepare for weather disasters. NBC News meteorologist Chase Kane with what you need to know to protect yourself.
Storm Team 4 weather alert.
They're the warnings no one wants to hear.
The National Weather Service is issuing this tornado warning.
Marty and Georgia Breeden were in the path of a tornado at their home in Luray, Virginia this spring.
You've lived in this area 60 years?
I've lived in this area 61 years.
Never had that happen?
No, not like that.
You would have thought we were in a blizzard because everything was just white.
Trees on their property uprooted.
There's something very different about this wind out here.
That tornado warning came from the National Weather Service forecast office outside D.C. Christopher Strong surveyed the storm damage.
That was an EF0 tornado, had peak winds of 75 miles an hour.
Meteorologists said more than 120 offices across the country are constantly monitoring weather in their regions, issuing advisories, watches, and warnings for all types of extreme weather.
We're not going to stop the weather threats from happening, obviously, but if people are aware, if people are ready, then it turns out so much better for everybody.
Strong's role as warning coordination meteorologist is to partner with local TV stations and emergency managers to prepare folks before the actual warnings, which bring those screeching alerts to your phone, reserved for the most dangerous events like tornadoes, hurricanes, and flash floods.
This is a weather radio.
They're another tool forecasters recommend, equipped with battery backup and automatically sound when the Weather Service issues alerts. Radios issue the final warning, but it's important to make a plan and stock up on essentials ahead of time. You can also sign up for any other alerts from your local emergency managers because data from NOAA shows the most destructive weather now hits the U.S. on average every 12 days. You're going to get hit. The Breedens say their phones did alert them that day of the storm, but left unplugged their weather radio.
We would have maybe gotten more of an idea of what was coming had we been more diligent to have a radio plugged up.
A reminder to always be prepared as climate change makes wild weather more destructive and more common. Chase Kane, NBC News, Luray, Virginia.
When we come back, there's good news tonight about a huge surprise for this grandma that she will never forget. There's good news tonight. You know, so often the good news doesn't get as much attention as the bad. So every Saturday we highlight the many people who spread joy and love. And these are just some of those stories this week.
Come on down!
You've never seen school spirit like this. Our Salt Lake City station, KSL-TV, was there to see it all. At the Jordan School District in Utah, they didn't just raise the roof, they rolled out the red carpet.
I feel very welcome.
It was super fun.
That's because all 280 of these teachers are new and getting a warm welcome before their students go back to class. The staff hyped up and looking forward to the year ahead. For Buffalo Bills superfan Nate Forrestal, visiting training camp was extra sweet.
Can we sign this for you? Yeah, please.
That's because quarterback Josh Allen turned this jersey signing into an even bigger surprise.
I've got 2 tickets to the Ryder Cup. They're yours if you want.
Yeah! Nate's golden ticket to this year's Ryder Cup, a dream come true. Take a look at this, a quinceañera on the court.
Today is Jada's 15th birthday, and she chose to spend it here with us.
That's UConn women's basketball star Ozzie Fudd at her basketball camp. And that's camper Jada Rosario, who flew all the way from Puerto Rico to Washington, D.C. to be there. But she had to miss her quinceañera, a big traditional 15th birthday celebration. But the basketball star still made sure to crown a new queen on the court. And on this family vacation,
We wanted to give a quick
shout out from a very grateful group of grandkids.
A shout out this grandma will never forget.
Today they're flying with a true VIP, their grandma, Grandma Noreen.
Grandma Noreen gave each of her 16 grandkids a solo trip as they graduated middle school.
So now it's her turn. They're taking her on her dream trip.
Her grandkids finding a special way to say thank you with a trip to Hawaii.
Thank you for your love, your courage, and your endless curiosity, for being our biggest fan, our favorite travel buddy, and the queen of making memories. We love you, Grandma Noreen.
To be able to give our grandma a trip that was solely planned by us was really, really special because she worked so hard.
That idea inspired by love for their grandma, but also leading to a fun vacation with memories to last a lifetime.
I was so grateful and happy, and I looked around because we all were sitting together, and I was crying. It was just beautiful. And the reaction to some of the people that were on the plane as we were getting off with hugs and thank yous, it did so much.
What's your secret of happiness?
What makes me the happiest has to be my family. To have my health and be able to share what the grandchildren and great-grandchildren are doing, that is a blessing.
That's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Hallie Jackson will be here tomorrow night. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and good night.
All right. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.